Well, I mean, this, I didn't know you were reading. Yeah, there is
I'm gonna go home and my husband's gonna be like,
Usually I take the minutes and everything away.
That's what we put together for them. Okay. All right, so you're good. Yeah, sorry. Because that's what I, from my understanding, we put that together. And then they go out, you know what I mean?
is everyone here?
It's like all
I'll do it right now.
Okay, that'll be interesting.
Do we have an executive session afterwards?
Yes.
should be quick, but
Yeah.
depends on how much you want to talk.
That's it. I'll sit there like this.
Okay, first things first. Alyssa, you're taking the picture? Who's taking? Ann's taking the picture. Okay. So we have to gather in here so she can take a picture quickly. You remember the process. You're a sitter.
I am? Okay.
You're short.
So I don't look so small.
Oh, okay, over here?
You
You
want
guys, you
to?
have to all shift.
Well,
Sorry, would you rather think?
yeah, we usually do it.
Doesn't matter. We can shift it. Wouldn't it be easy?
No, it's fine.
She said.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Just move back. You usually sit too, don't you? You usually sit next to me. Oh, you're gonna hide. Take this on so I don't get.
Yeah.
I don't want to. Okay, ready? You stay.
We're ready. Ready as ever.
Ready? 1, 2. End of story. We just take one more.
Jeez. Okay, well, that was quick. Usually that takes forever. You know the old class pictures. They're supposed to take 15 minutes and they go an hour.
They were fantastic.
And they go an hour.
That was fun.
Oh, is that what she's gonna try to do? That's funny.
Hey, Pat.
Baron, is anything CIT? I don't. No report. I really did.
I believe we're,
The agenda.
okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. We have the roll recorded, Joan, and we can do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, any presentations or updates?
No presentation.
Superintendent's report.
I'm happy to report that our staff reported back today. They all returned, which is always a very important event. We're very glad to see our teachers, and we started the day with a convocation, if you will, of representatives from most of all of our employee groups meeting at the middle school. And if you will, had a symbolic liftoff to what we hope to be as a successful school year for our students. And we're very happy to welcome back Jenna. I see you sitting there once again. Welcome. It's great to see you. know that you're returning back to good health. And one of the things that we failed to do is recognize that it was Barron's birthday today. And I said we could have made his birthday much more memorable by having over 1,000 people sing happy birthday to you this morning. So I'm sure that you were very happy to know that no one else knew that. But happy birthday, Barron, anyway. One of the things I believe that our administrators are going to be working on very diligently over the next 5 or 6 days and into the school year is the changes that are taking place across the Commonwealth when it relates, the changes as they relate to the evaluation and supervision of our teaching staff and how that's going to impact on the evaluation and the rating, if you will, of our schools, as well as our administrators individually. So the board at some point, we hope to provide you with a very detailed overview. Well, I don't want to scare you with that. Maybe not so detailed, but an overview of this whole process and how it's going to impact on the manner in which we do business in public schools. It's a very comprehensive system of evaluation, which not only includes observable behavior, which is what I think most of us are used to, and classroom visits, but it will also include data related to student achievement and school achievement. So we're in for a huge change in the way that we do business. And once again, this is not something new. We've all been exposed to these changes and how these changes are relating to the business of education over the past number of years. But this is a big one, and I would like to acknowledge the fact that Mr. Steckel and Ms. DeVitro and Mrs. Amelia have been taking this huge piece of this, Mr. Castrovinci, and making this whole business much more understandable for all of our staff. So I appreciate the work you've done on that. And we have visited every school in the district, virtually every building in the district. And I'm happy to report, as I'm sure our board president is, that our schools are in great shape and they look ready to go and welcoming students back next week. And that's the end of my report.
Okay, thank you. Continuing with reports, Dr. Moskaitis, yeah, you?
Okay, well, as I mentioned last month, July is, we have no meeting in July. In August, that meeting is next week. There are at least two issues that you probably should be aware of that will be discussed. And one is, the IU provides a lot of specialized services. And of course, when they do their budget, there's always a certain degree of guesswork about how many people are going to be needed in each of those services. And then they have to set their staff appropriately. So they've really been wrestling in the last couple months with some issues related to reimbursements and then the appropriate staffing for the coming year. So I'm sure we'll hear about that. And secondly, you all know that the prevalence of cyber schools has become more and more important in the state of Pennsylvania and within the IU. In fact, a sign of just how prevalent that's become is the IU has done a role with helping districts in establishing cyber schools. And we'll be considering a new position of cyber services coordinator within the IU. And that's simply because the demand is there. So that's something we should follow.
Okay, thank you. Eastern Library, Mr. Riley.
Mr. President, the Eastern Area Public Library Board has not met since the last meeting, so there's no new news, other than the next board meeting will be September 10th, which is a Tuesday, at 3 p.m. at their board office.
Okay, see,
Mr. President, I just have a quick question. There were a couple vacancies on that board. Have they been filled?
they've been filled.
Okay. Not the last meeting?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. I thought so.
CIT, Mr. Ryder, Mr. Vandenberg. No report. Community College, Dr. Volcano, you were there?
Yeah, We heard two committee reports on education and on finances. Again, they're because of cuts from the state, we're tight on finances as you are, even though we're just about making it. We're also making headroads in Monroe, okay? We're getting donations and private money in for Monroe. Our foundation, we were told, in one regard, it could be construed as second in the nation, in another regard, eighth, depending on how it's looked at, but we prefer to say second in the nation. As far as community colleges, I think that's a feat that we should be very proud of. We are looking at planning on more dorms because of the number of outside people coming for special programs. We have a big demand for pole, what are they, Bob, you might help me with this, pole, what are they, they're not, linemen.
The linemen.
Pole linemen. We could probably fill 500 positions, and we can't do that. We could fill about maybe 40 a year, unless we go to a second set. So that's refreshing. Obviously, our undertaker program is drawing from all over the state and parts of other states, which would be needed for our housing. Also, there are some students that say live in Portland or the very tip of Washington Township. That's a 30-mile or 40-mile drive almost, and that's a heartbreak for them. Especially if they don't drive. So it would be used for our own students in some cases. We did go over an evaluation for in confidence with Dr. Erickson, and I think most of the board members were pleased with that. And basically, that was it. I'd like to thank Mr. Fainall. He served as a secretary, which is hard to do for somebody who's not used to doing that. We had two secretaries that were taking notes so we could put them together to make sure we had it right. And Bob was one of them that volunteered. And basically that was the meeting. It went from a little after 4 to about 10 o'clock. So it was a long meeting.
Just adding one thing, when you talked about the dorms.
Oh.
The dorms are basically financed, they are being financed through the foundation.
Right.
There is no taxpayer money involved in that.
That's true.
That's good. Okay, moving on. Legislative, Mrs. Ellison.
Let's see, we have our legislative platform meeting coming up in October. I guess we decided that you're not going.
We actually have room for a third one, and I didn't get it added to the agenda.
We are eligible for 3
Yeah.
people, voting delegates. Last year we only sent one, so did you want to open that up?
I'd like to, if there's a third, and I think Mr. Ryder had indicated some interest there, at least for the voting day.
Yes, he did.
Which is Tuesday. And they're doing that different, so this year it's Tuesday.
Okay.
So I will add that as C under miscellaneous for us.
Okay. Let's see, so the platform is already, and we should be getting that soon to take a look at it, for the kind of for the voting. And then on let's see, what day did we go? I'm trying to remember what
Thursday.
day.
It was Thursday.
Last Thursday,
Yeah.
yeah, it was last Thursday, thank you. We went out to see the Secretary of Education, who came to have a town meeting at Parkland School District. And, Mr. Reinhardt and I, listened to him, very interesting, limited with his conversation, but interesting all the same when he was getting into conversations about teacher evaluation, and we were going with that. We got in a little bit of a conversation about Common Core, and is being held right now regarding that. And I think that's pretty much covered. We talked about finances, all school districts and financial trouble. I think that's about it. Other than that, that's my report, please.
Good, thank you. Yay, yay.
Hi, it's been a little while since I've seen you all. This summer I've had a lot of time to think, a lot of downtime, sit around a lot. And I thought about, am I going to be able to return to the classroom in the fall? And I was reminded last week that there's no place else I'd rather be. I saw a few of my kids, and it reminded me that I don't know what my life would be like if I didn't get to see them on a regular basis. And my current status has afforded me a lot of wonderful opportunities. I've learned this summer how amazing the staff and the community of this school district are. And the amount of people, I have cards hanging on my banister, and it has been completely overwhelming. This is an amazing community, an amazing school district with amazing people, and I was reminded of that this summer. I was also reminded that we don't know what kind of baggage our kids come to school with. Obviously, I wear my baggage on my face this time around, but we don't know what they're coming with. And as educators, it's our job to kind of figure out the puzzle. And Mr. Reiner, thank you, reminded us of that this morning, that we need to believe in them, because if we don't, who will? And the message was loud and clear this morning. It was a very positive message, and I appreciate that it created a lot of conversation. So it was very positive. So my fingers are completely calloused from setting up my classroom. I have the obligatory paper cuts from trying to punch things out of paper, and we're ready to go on Monday. Kind of miss those little faces. So the school buses will be driving around to add some time to your commute, but we're excited to start the school year. So we will see you soon.
Thank you. Mr. Cuck, do you have an introduction?
Always my great pleasure to introduce to you our Exec Board President, Caitlin Rodriguez, who will be appearing quite frequently to speak to the board on high school matters. I'd also like real quickly to introduce to you our new Student Council Advisor, and that is math teacher Maggie Zayas. Caitlin, it's all you.
Hi.
Only 10 minutes. I promise.
I'm the president, as he said. This year, I'm really excited to work with the school and the community. We started having meetings about community service projects and fundraisers, so we're going to have more meetings once we get back in session with all the grades. So I look forward to working with everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We had no committee meetings this month, so we move on to public to be heard. Anybody that would like to address the board, I ask that you please stand, come to the podium, sign in, please, and obviously your topic. Is there anyone to address the board this evening? I see no hands. With that, I will move into the agenda. I'm going to ask for the approval of the minutes, number 8, number 9, the executive session. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments or corrections? Hearing none. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? I'll take number 10 separate, old business. The Database Assessment Coordinator contract. Can I have a motion?
Mr. President, I move number 10.
I second
We have a motion and a second. Any comments? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? No. Thank you. Moving on, under personnel, I take retirements separate. Can I have a motion for retirements?
Motion with regret.
Thank you. Thank you. Any comments? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
From there, I will take 11B. We're going to put a gang of them together here. CDE all the way down through O. Can we have all the personnel all the way through O?
Mr. President, I move 11B through O.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments?
Mr. President, is it possible, may I comment on
Sure.
just congratulating the individuals in M who have reached national board certification? I was very impressed to see that. All of these individuals, all these teachers have gone through a very rigorous program achieving that status, and that has been something that I know for the past, well, I would say a decade or so that we've been encouraging teachers to do. And when I look to see that you had 15 here in the school system, I think that's a very, very big plus. And I congratulate each of those individuals for doing so. And congratulate the district.
Good. I'll ask all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Under academics, we again have A, and I believe we can keep on going through policy number 13 through 14, paying our bills. That's always important that we pay them. Establishing a new student activity, disabled veterans real estate property tax exemption, standard business. All the way down to, in essence, unless there's a good reason, through 15A, B, and 15C. 15C being, again, adding Mr. Ryder on as a voting delegate for PSBA this year.
Motion.
We have a motion, and when's the second?
Sure.
We'll figure that out.
I'll take it.
Any comments or questions?
I have a question or a comment on 15C.
Yes, sir.
I think the spirit last year was very much that we restricted attendance at outside conferences, whether it be by teachers, administrators, maybe even board members, in recognition of the financial shape of the district. So I would simply ask, is 15C, has any expense?
The only expense would be actually the driving out. We talked about, driving together even. That is not staying, that's a voting session, which they don't charge you for.
Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Covered.
Yep. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? At this point, we open the floor up to any public to be heard on non-agenda items. So if you have a non-agenda item, I ask that you again come to the podium, please sign in and state your business. I see nobody standing up for non-agenda. With that, I will ask for a motion, any other comments or info from the board members?
I just wanted to take a minute to say that I was glad to see this morning. I stopped by the opening convocation this morning, and I was very, very delighted to see bright-eyed, cheery faces at the meeting this morning. I wasn't there for much of it. I had to skip by some work obligations, but from what I did see, I saw eagerness and readiness to get back into the building. That's what we appreciate. So thank you to the educators that are in the room and to the community. Let's get back and see.
Other comments? Carrie, did you have something?
That's okay, I'll pass.
Any other comments?
Yes.
Please.
I did not get over to the middle school today for the teacher orientation or induction or whatever. But one of the things that in talking to teachers, talking to administrators, and looking at the things that we have done in the past several months, or few months, are very limited to time. There is a degree of confidence in this school district and positiveness that I have not seen in a long time. And that can only be beneficial to our kids. And in the reality of what we do on a daily basis, that's what it's all about. Thank you.
Any other comments? Hearing none, I will ask for a motion for adjournment.
Motion.
Second. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
And we will continue our executive session immediately.